Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for an updated video on my thoughts and a couple of temporary, I guess, solutions that I have come up with about how we can end this Super League nonsense. And I call it nonsense because I've spent hours and hours and hours reading up on this, thinking about it. The one conclusion I can come to for myself is it's actually already impacting my mental health. I would say that I'm a very stable mental person, but all of these little things that I'm feeling about this whole thing are actually getting me down. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. You know, there's a lot of people in this world who rely on football as we know it to pretty much just maintain their happiness levels in life. And I think that as this changes, someone's tire's just gone flat in front of me, that's bad luck. But as all these changes come into fruition, it is gonna impact a lot of people. So I want to just say that I think GBFC is a very safe place where the comment section, we can all be using it to express our feelings, express our emotions on how we really feel about what's going on in the footballing world and how it affects us right now. So feel free to let us all know how you feel in the comments. Be supportive to one another. I think universally, we're all pretty much after the same thing at this point. The universal agreement amongst the people that are actually vocalizing their thoughts on this whole process right now is that we don't like it, we're not happy with it, we don't want it to be a thing. I think at this moment in time, I want to approach this video today by talking about 4 points in particular. And the first one I want to speak about is Florentino Perez. Let's just say the president of Real Madrid, but as far as I'm aware and from what I understand of him, I don't like to make negative judgments on human beings until I've met them, but my number one judgment on Florentino Perez is that he's an absolute tosspot. Some of the things he's come out and said regarding reacting to a lot of the feedback that's been given by fans and people within football about this Super League is that he's saying that young people are not excited anymore by the quality of football on show. And again, all of these little comments that people like Florentino Perez come out and make, all it is to do is to just put a smoke screen over the fact that the only reason he really wants this to go ahead is not because he actually cares about what the younger generation think about the quality of football. He's got no idea. He don't go out on the streets of Madrid and say, you know what do you think about the way Real Madrid are playing right now? He doesn't give a flying toss about any of that. All he cares about is how much money his football club and his business can make him to line his pockets for the rest of his life, however long that's going to be. That is the truth on the matter right now. And I actually think that even if I dissect his comments literally, I'd go as far as to say that the quality of football right now in the world, yes, we've relied heavily on the influences of Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo over the past years to kind of fly the flag of the sport. There are so many good young players right now. And I think that this generational change in football is actually not going to be as difficult as we might think. We've got the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, who have been making serious waves in the footballing world, so that as fans, not just of individual clubs, but of the sport, we can be confident that there are players who are going to be able to fly the footballing flag, so to speak, so that interest keeps building in our incredible, beautiful sport. So first point is Florentino Perez. Don't listen to any of the bullshit that is going to be fed to you by the owners of these clubs if they come out and speak. The only thing that the clubs genuinely care about right now is the serious, incredible amounts of money that they will be getting as a result of joining this European Super League. The only way any of this is going to change is if a single club decides to pull out. And there were talks last night that 2 clubs in England were at the point where they were on the verge of revolting from the European Super League. The only way this can end is if those 2 clubs actually pull out of the Super League, and then it might trigger and spark some of the others to actually follow suit and say, you know what, we may have signed this agreement last weekend, but we understand that this is actually not a good idea. And just admit it, you're greedy. You're all flipping greedy. All you want is money. All you want is cash. You don't care about me. You don't care about any of you guys watching this right now who are seriously hurt by what is going on right now in football. Let me get past this geezer, hang on. So point number 2 that I really want to address is the potential that players have right now in the clubs of which have actually joined the Super League, what the players can do to actually help us stop this Super League. The only thing I think that is realistic that can happen, because I understand that right now And people have to really understand this. When a player does an interview and he comes out and he doesn't say, you might think he's truly feeling like, I don't want this Super League, I like playing in the Champions League, I like playing in the Premier League, I like playing in La Liga, so why the hell aren't you coming out and saying anything? The truth of the matter here that people need to remember and understand is that these players have huge contracts for big money at their respective clubs. There will be conversations that have been had within all of these football clubs saying you can't really speak out negatively against it, it would go against the best interests of the football club. And unfortunately, all of this comes back down to money, and all of these players are on such big money that for the sake of their careers and their contracts, they can't afford to come out and speak negatively about it. So the only way I see this happening is that the Players' Tribunal and enough players within these clubs, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, City, Spurs, and all of the other European clubs as well, if these players can come out and rally together and say, you know what, we've got to revolt as a group, we've got to revolt as a collective in order to show and see, so that the clubs see that we don't want to be playing in this competition. But the hardest thing about all of this for me is that, are there going to be enough players who are willing to come out and do that, which could seriously jeopardize their contracts at their clubs? The answer in my mind right now is no. There's a very hopeful part of me. You guys know I'm forever the optimist, but I really think there's going to be a struggle to actually action that and get it to happen. The third thing that could potentially happen, but I seriously don't believe it will, is you've got these football governing bodies. You've got FIFA, you've got UEFA. A lot of people in the reaction to my video yesterday have said, you're giving too much credit to UEFA here. You're not really speaking enough about the reasons why these big clubs have actually actioned this Super League in the first place. And at the moment, it's not important to me why it's happening. What's important is that we keep on using our voices. We keep on expressing how much we don't want this and trying to get the clubs in question to really see what it's doing to the fans, how it completely alienates what has made football the incredible sport that it is, which is the connection and inclusivity that us as fans have to the sport that's played on the field by some of our favourite people in the world, some of our role models. And that connection is seriously what is dying within this sport. Not only that, but the money and the filtering system of how teams get paid will become such a huge disparity that will lose so many football clubs and so many communities. That is the problem. If we focus on UEFA, FIFA, the FA, all of the football associations across the world who have not really done what they needed to do, the main reason why I don't feel like they have any power right now in actually getting this to stop is that in doing so, they would have to change their financial structure, which is what they haven't done over the years, which is why this has happened in the first place. Expressing and doing all of this would just outline even greater the corruption and bullshit within these companies further, which, to be honest, we're talking about individuals here that have made these decisions over the years who would have to, as we say on GBFC, eat a slice of humble bloody pie. Will they be willing to do that? I personally don't think they will. I think that at this moment in time, I actually drew a diagram that I'll put up on the screen now that I use to kind of explain to myself how I understand what is going on in this situation right now. The biggest issue is the clubs in question have got so much money already, and it's not just in football, it's the world we live in now. Money equals power, power equals executive decisions being made at the detriment of everybody else beneath them. And as fans, the most painful thing about all of this is that it really does show to me, to you, just how unimportant we are right now in football. And it is an incredibly sad feeling. And even if everyone goes against it, the initial betrayal is going to leave a sour taste in not only my mouth, but the Premier League's mouth, the Champions League's mouth. And I think that even if Chelsea drop out and all of the other clubs in England drop out and this doesn't happen, I think there will be serious penalties that will have to be given to those clubs in question. And I actually believe that that is the right thing to do, because, you know, you've got to stamp an authority, and the governing bodies who are going to have to make changes in order to actually make these clubs happy again, in order for them to not want to go ahead with this Super League. These governing bodies are going to have to put their foot down and say, you know what, you can't just kick all your toys out of the pram because you want a few extra billion quid. You know, football is our sport, it's the fan sport, it's all about that. And it's not all about that, you know, it's all about the cash, but we really want to keep it that way as long as we possibly can. So I guess where I really want to end with this right now is that we need to keep rallying. We need to keep doing what we can whilst we can, because the only time that anything's going to happen to go against what it is that we're not happy about right now, the only time it is possible is now. Keep reaching out to the clubs, keep reaching out to players if you can, Because even though there's very few right now who are actually speaking out about it, we know that Jurgen Klopp didn't ever want it to happen. But again, incredibly diplomatic in his interviews. Thomas Tuchel, incredibly diplomatic in his interviews. The key thing to remember though, is that we're not fighting against our players. We're not fighting against Tuchel. We're not fighting against the Chelsea players that will go out there tonight and play against Brighton. We're fighting against the board. We're fighting against the club. And it isn't the fault of the players. I'm sure, realistically, none of these players really want this. They just have to go ahead with it because they've got these big contracts. They need to keep their mouths shut, which is the sad reality. But I'm hoping that enough players can get together within the players' tribunals and actually put a stop to this. But whether it's going to happen or not, I don't know. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be doing a Brighton preview later on today. A lot of people have said, why don't you stop making videos? I think at the end of the day, I flipping love Chelsea, man. I love making these vids. So I'm just going to try and keep going on as normal, keep trying to do as much as I can to express my hatred for this and dislike for it. And who knows if we can make a difference. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the love and support. Hopefully we can get some clarity over the next few days as to what's actually going to happen. Hopefully Chelsea can continue to play in the Premier League and the Champions League and we don't get any penalties and fines, be it point deductions or exclusions from the competition. And I just pray that we can face Real Madrid in a Champions League semi-final. It's been the dream. Still slightly excited about it despite everything going on. Thank you guys for watching. Share this video if you want to keep spreading the word. Come on, you Blues.